Hey guys, it's Alex Maynard, your Chester County connection, your realtor and lifestyle consultant with the Gary Mercer team at Keller Realty. Willie and I are so excited to share with you guys that we have a brand new little mini series that I've been thinking about for quite some time. You guys know I am fourth generation real estate. If you don't, you do now. I grew up in a farmhouse and my great grandfather, he owned a brokerage in New York City. Real estate brokerage and insurance brokerage. So with all of my experience growing up in a farmhouse with my grandfather, who is a contractor, builder, father did flips, I'm dying to share with you my experience. I really am. Especially, we're calling this Between the Beams. So Between the Beams, your weekly dose of historic home tidbits and a little insight into the Chester County market. Listen, there's a lot of misinformation out there, a lot of opportunity to consume information, and it's very hard for a consumer to understand what's the right information. Who do you trust, right? You trust somebody that you like and you know. So reach on out to me. Happy to share a little bit about the market with you. We're going to be talking Chester County as a whole. However, you need to understand that there are sub-markets within the overall market. So say, for example, you're taking a look at Chester County data, you must go down, drill down into specific school districts and municipalities. So with that, let's get into the advantages and maybe disadvantages, depending on how you look at it, of buying a historic home. So let's break it down. What are the top 4 reasons or the advantages of owning a historic home, and what are the bottom 4 disadvantages or cons? Some things to take into consideration whenever you're looking for a historic home. All right, so number 1, I think the biggest reason why you should purchase a historic home is preservation, right? You are preserving the landscape a lot of the times. You are preserving the story of a particular property. Yes, there may have been numerous properties built in the same era, the 1700s, right? However, number 2, they are one of a kind. They are always one of a kind. If you take a look at one particular farmhouse and you compare it to another, I guarantee you there have been some changes and modifications over the years passed through maybe family members or additional families whenever the property was conveyed. Number 3, there is less demand, guys. With historic properties, if you think about it, the modern family, a historic home or a farmhouse does not work for them unless there are a number of modern day modifications, right? And number 4, this is a double-edged sword, right? There are pros and cons to the financial reasons of a historic home. There are grants, there are tax advantages, there are mortgage benefits for a historic home. It's really something you need to take a look at, and that leads me right into the 4 disadvantages, or four things to watch out for whenever you're buying a home. It's a big investment. That's where the flip side of the finances comes into play. It's just like number 2, leading right in, taking care of an older family member, right? You essentially become the caregiver of the property, right? You are now that farm hands that, you know, we know of in the past, where you would have somebody take care of the property, take care of the grounds. You are now the caregiver of that farmhouse. And it does require a lot, and it does require some sacrifices. So number 3 thing to think about whenever you're purchasing a historic home is you're gonna have to make some sacrifices. You're gonna have to make some short-term sacrifices, especially if the home has not been renovated and it has not been brought up into, 2020 and beyond. So definitely things like central air, big one, right? Maybe you need to take a look at the high efficiency tube systems, or you need to take a look at ductless systems, closet space, all sorts of things, as well as private systems like water and septic. Definitely something to take into consideration. And finally, what is the biggest thing that you hear people talk about whenever they were doing a farmhouse renovation? You can't hire Joe Schmo, the contractor, to do a renovation on your farmhouse. It is a specialized renovation. You must consult, interview, and collaborate with somebody who's familiar with historic homes. You can't take somebody who builds, you know, brand new construction homes. I mean, you may, however, I doubt it. And you may want to take into consideration the integrity of the products that you'll be using for your renovation. So guys, 4 pros, 4 cons. We will break them all down as the year progresses on together, but I do just want to share a little bit of insight with you as far as the housing market locally. I will post a market report that you can take a look at for Chester County for this past month, as well as maybe take a look at how the past 10 years have been trending in Chester County. Guys, let me just tell you what, the median sales price for a home, single family home in Chester County, it has gone up about $75,000. What would $75,000 do for you and your family if you currently own a home? If you have lived in the area for quite some time, reach on out to me. We have great seller solutions, guys. We are getting phenomenal deals for our sellers as well as our buyers. You just have to kind of know how to navigate the market a little bit and have somebody who's a little bit more creative. So with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in for our first episode. We will evolve and get better as we continue on with each other. Any questions in the greater Philadelphia suburbs, I'm more than happy to be a resource for you. Love you guys.